Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Sakilla. Okay, today I will explain general about vocabulary self-correction strategy. Is it effective to improve vocabulary mastery assessment on senior high school student? By Rizal Arisman, Universitas Dayanu Ihsanuddin. The objective of this research was to find out whether there was a significant difference in vocabulary mastery between students who were taught using vocabulary self-collection strategy and those who were taught using a conventional method. This research used a quantitative approach with the experimental method of quasi-experimental design. There were 60 students involved as the sample of all these research selected using the purposive cluster sampling technique. The instrument used was tests including preset tests and preset data were analyzed using main with need. You test the result indicated that the score of message to talent was 0.001 and which is was lower than 0.05. It means there was a significant difference in vocabulary mastery between students who were taught using vocabulary self-collection strategy and those who were taught using the conventional methods. Furthermore, based on the result of the ancient tests, it was found that the vocabulary self-collection strategy was more effective than the conventional methods. This is due to the fact vocabulary is built into all elements of the language to be specific: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Whilst not having sufficient vocabulary, it must be not possible to gather proper abilities in any language skill. Sign covered that language and stage the speech frequent use of the English language both in and out of the classroom. Students continue to face the difficult in their learning, and they usually see unfamiliar terms as the first obstacle to overcome. Thinking about the significance of the mastering vocabulary, it ought to learn using the suitable and in strategy that student vocabulary mastery can be stepped forward mainly at the senior school level in Bau, South Sulawesi, and then it is supported by the Kavipur and NAFE, which are that use the of learning method is very essential in a process of vocabulary acquisition, and it is highly independent on the efforts of the learners. The vocabulary of the pupil in commonly broader than that of the speakers, even as the vocabulary of the pupil is pretty massive. The expression vocabulary in most language novices in the significantly larger than its productive vocabulary. However, nation and wording have proven the quantitative to which is this relationship is not ordinary or predictable. He calls a stimulated vocabulary productive vocabulary. It consists of all the parts the pupils need in regular communication, translation, or to be prevented because it has no risk such that pupils might have a verbalism and no longer all words might be translated. For that reason, many students lose the interest many students lose interest and become behind in studying vocabulary. Consequently, student vocabulary fluency could be very low due to the fact students have issue memorizing the new word which have been taught, and that they effortlessly forget about the phrases that they have been learning earlier. By knowing the problem faced by the students at SMA Negeri 4 ya, above, the researchers suggest one the strategy to overcome it. Research uses the self-vocabulary collection strategy to educate vocabulary to enhance pupils' vocabulary fluency, states the VSS goal is to provide a long-term incentive for pupils to acquire a new word by raising their interest in the interrogating new topic word to their educational vocabulary over time. As a student use VSS, they maintain their study approach look at the ideal word to use, expand their vocabularies, and become word mindful. A quantitative approach of quasi-experimental design was used for this research. This intended that these studies using groups of students wherein one group changed into adults with as a control group and some other group turned into handle as an experimental group. The student concurrent in this study were 11th grade students from SMA Negeri 4 Bau with a total number were 1,084 students. The sample have been class me for as an experimental class and class MIA 7 as a control class with a total number were 60 students. They were selected as the sample using the purposive cluster sampling technique. It meant each group of students who had low vocabulary learning assessment had the opportunity to be selected as the sample of this research. The instrument uses with a vocabulary test in the administering the test. The research explained first to the student and invite the student to ask whether there was something they did not understand about the distraction. The data accumulated throughout the that is analyzed by the descriptive statistics to decide student vocabulary fluency earlier than the after assessment and the inferential statistic to determine if there was a high distinction in vocabulary fluency among the students. Students who have a learning to apply self-collecting vocabulary approach and the tools which have been taught using the conventional approach. The last conclusion. Primarily based on the use result of the data analysis as provided formerly within the descriptive analysis supported by the hypothesis test and the effectiveness test. The researchers concluded there's a significant difference in the assessment of vocabulary proficiency among students that are taught using self-taught vocabulary. For contrast, the main posted score in the control class is 69.83 and the class aspire. It reveals that the student have an approach achievement in vocabulary mastery after being taught using the conventional methods. From the end result of the engine test, it might be regarded that the mean score within the class experimental class is 47.75% and it is 25.11% within the contract class. Okay, that for me. Thank you.